back, Sports Budz. Back with my trusty notebook. Our final preseason segment before we jump into some goddamn football finally. And we can stop just like having mental masturbation about what we think is going to happen this season. We'll be able to talk about actual football.
No.
All right. Now, meat and potatoes here. Divisional predictions. I'm joined by my fellow host, Nick Kerr, Tony Reyes, also known as Tony Parlay. I'm Chris Billings. Let's jump into it, boys. It's time for the NFC,
NFC.
and we're going to
Tony's
give
baby.
you Tony's baby.
Yep. Tell me about it.
Hey, you don't have to worry about a guy named Aaron Rodgers anymore.
True.
Just got a little bit easier.
Love to see that.
Don't have to worry about a guy named Tom Brady anymore.
Love to see that.
But we're going to just kind of do a round robin. We're going to give you our basically 4 through 1 predictions on each of the divisions. Give you our division winners and our wild card winners, go into championship games for the conference, and then into the Super Bowl. So, start with NFC South. I will start with you, Mr. Nikipedia Kerr.
All right.
Who do you think is going to get 4th in the NFC South?
4th in the NFC South? I think the Baker Mayfield experiment goes wrong. The Bucks finish 4th in the South.
Tony
After
Parlay?
that, how are you? Okay, go.
Snaking
No,
it. We're snaking
Okay,
it, man.
I got you. I got you.
The snake
This is
has
new.
to
See,
keep
we're
moving.
gonna get in the kinks out.
If
It's
the
preseason.
snake stops in one of these boxes, we all die.
Feed the snake. Feed the
Got
snake. Feed the snake Baker Mayfield, because I also think the Bucks are gonna get last in the NFC South. Okay.
Oh, Baker Mayfield, you just got eaten by the snake because I also have you as number 4 in the NFC South. I also had a little note of Kyle Trask, question mark. So that means I didn't have much faith in Baker Mayfield.
The
All
Tampa
right.
Bay Bucks GM has that same note. He has that
Yeah,
same
question
note.
All right, Nick, who do you have for 3rd in the NFC South?
3rd in the NFC South, I have the Carolina Panthers. I think Bryce Young has a good year, but they're still in the building mode.
Tony?
I agree. Panthers 3rd.
I'm in agreement as well. I think it's going to be a development year for Bryce Young, especially of all the rookie QBs that they all seem to be sucking in preseason at the moment. But I think him especially definitely needs another year. All right, Nick, 2nd in NFC South. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons. They're getting better, but they're still a couple years away.
Tony, is there any debate here?
There is. I'm going with the Saints in 2nd.
Oh,
Yep, going with the Saints in 2nd.
you have little faith with Derek Carr.
You've seen him play long enough. How do you feel about him?
But he played for the Raiders, though.
Yeah. Who's coach? What is the coach's name that coaches the Saints?
Dennis Allen.
How do you feel about Dennis Allen as a head coach?
I wouldn't know him if I saw him on the street, man.
Because he has a coaching experience coaching the Raiders. That's why.
All right. I have the Falcons. I think they're possibly a contender for a wild card spot with Desmond Ridder this season and Bijan Robinson. So I got them 2nd, but would not be surprised if they win this trash division. Nick, Obviously, we know who you have winning this
Yes.
division. Tell us why.
I think the Saints win this division because I think Derek Carr is just happy to be out of the AFC West and into the NFC South.
Can I join him? Is there room on that plate? All right, Tony. Tell us why you have the Falcons.
I would pick the Saints, but I just don't like their head coach. I think Dennis Allen is literally going to blow a couple games again this season, like he did last season. And that's why the Falcons are going to win that division, is because the Saints are going to blow a couple close games that they shouldn't. And he's just not a good coach.
No one has any love for Michael Thomas, Derek Carr connection this year. No,
I mean,
anyone?
is Michael Thomas going to play the whole year? I had him stashed on my fantasy team for the last couple of years in hopes. So, but
Nick knows.
maybe he's just waiting for Derek Carr. Maybe you're right. Maybe they
True.
they developed that connection. So,
Or Michael Thomas is overrated, but we'll save that for a later discussion. NFC North. This time I'll start with you, Tony. Who do you see getting fourth in the NFC North?
The Bears.
Oh,
Yep, the Bears. The Justin Fields experiment. Come on, man. What are we doing here? I guess we'll keep this going. We'll see how long this lasts, but DJ
the
Moore's
Bears
there.
organization or Justin Fields?
I don't know. A little bit of both. A little bit of both. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. DJ Moore will be there. Maybe he breaks out and he has a good season, but I think the Bears get last in that division.
Move him to Indiana. I'm going with the Packers. Earlier episode, I had Jordan Love as what I perceived as what I thought was going to be the biggest bust of the year. Sticking with that, I think the Packers are honestly going to be a contender for the #1 draft pick this year. So, Packers, Nick.
ooh, I get to be the Lonely Island pick, our first one. Let's see.
If you pick the Lions, we're going to fight.
No. It is actually a toss-up between your two. I am going to go with the Packers. I think they go over. This is going to be the first year they don't have Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. I'll go with the Packers.
All right. It's back to you, Tony. Who do you got third in the NFC North?
The Lions.
Oh,
Yep. I don't know why people are falling for this train, man. It's just
you have the Packers getting top 2 in this division? That's wild.
Yep, they're gonna compete. They might make the playoffs. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Packers, they have a solid team there. No distractions with Aaron Rodgers gone. Just straight football. But the Lions, we've seen the best version of Jared Goff. Like, you're not gonna recreate that. And I just think the Lions are setting themselves up for disappointment. Like, they could have made the playoffs. They could have easily made the playoffs last year, but they lost to the Panthers before they played that Packers game. Like, they had a playoff spot waiting. They're just not that good of a team. They're just a lot of like hype.
Not disputing that as somebody that hyped them last season. So, next for me, third in the division, I have the Bears and Justin Fields. Yeah, I don't necessarily see him as a bad team. I just see him as a mediocre team, which in the NFL is even worse. So, Nick, who do you have third in the NFC
I
North?
agree with you. I think the Bears are going to be third in this division. I think Justin Fields is getting better. They're going to have a strong run game, but they're still a couple years away. They just got to let it. Last year we talked about it. They got to let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. Let's see if that happens this year. I still think it's a couple years away.
I feel like I've heard that a lot with the Bears. So just a couple years. Just give Mitch Trubisky a couple more years.
Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. Tony, we're back to you. Second in the NFC North. Who do you got? It's-
Packers. I got the Packers here in second. And it's like
But
LaFleur's
How? They were
because
bad last year with Aaron Rodgers. They lose him, a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like
but
I
he
don't
wasn't
see
a Hall
how.
of Fame quarterback last year. He was bad last year. And the Packers are coaches LaFleur. He's like one of these play callers like McDaniel, like McVay, like Shanahan, like the
Same
dude in
coaching tree,
Cincinnati,
yeah.
likes this the dude in Cincinnati. They have like the same coaching tree, so they have the same base offense that they're gonna run. So it's not gonna be hard. It's gonna be play action throws for Jordan Love for most of that. They're gonna have good running game and they have a good defense. They're gonna be 500
How
team.
the but like legitimate observation. How the fuck you gonna run play action in Lambeau in December? Like
The
it
way
just
they've always done it. Like
They got
I
the
just
heated
I
field. It
yeah,
won't
like
matter.
I
That's what you told
it's
me.
it's just like it's not going to be a big deal for them. I just think we're making too much of this. Like we did not see MVP Aaron Rodgers last year. We saw the worst version of Aaron Rodgers, and that's
Yeah.
why the Packers suck. And like Jordan Love just has to be mediocre or average to get to 9-8. That's what they were last year, or 8-9. They could easily do that. I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Love is average quarterback and they're 8-9. I'll be like, yeah, okay.
all right. All right. All right. So for me, second NFC North, I have the Lions. Uh just I think they'll be a playoff team, but I think the Vikings are gonna continue the steamroll that we saw last season and we saw on Netflix's quarterback show. Check it out now. Kirk Cousins, cool dude. Uh, Nick, who you got? Second in the NFC North.
I am not following suit this time. I am going with the Vikings finishing second in this division.
Me no like you that. All right, Tony. Obviously, we know who you have is your NFC North winner. Why are you picking them?
God, it would have been great to fade that fucking Vikings team that we think is so fraudulent, like so fucking phony, losing to Daniel Jones in the playoffs. But you watch that Netflix shit, and then you start feeling for Kirk Cousins. Then you start seeing all this hype, and you're like, everybody is fading the Vikings, and then you're like, oh, but they hired Brian Flores. Like he'll stabilize the defense. Kirk Cousins is gonna go ahead and give you that connection with Justin Jefferson. Like they're gonna be
Also,
tough,
they
man.
got rid of that injury-prone bastard named Dalvin Cook.
I don't.
But
I
they're
don't know.
also going to be losing the 1,000 yards he got last year as well.
They are. I have faith in that McConnell Cousins connection. I think it gets better in year 2. And I think they win the division close. I think it's close. They don't win 13 games again, that's for sure. But
No.
they make the playoffs and they win the division.
All right. All right. Moving on. NFC West. Tony, we'll let you start with this one. Who do you got getting fourth in the NFC West?
The Cardinals, those sons of guns, selling off that whole damn team. So many picks, man. So many picks. They have the Texans first round pick. They're just stocked. They're ready for next year.
Nick, you're next. Fourth in the NFC West.
I'm going the Cardinals. Then they're a contender for the number one pick.
I'm also the Cardinals. They are bad. One thing I got in this fucking notebook here is the Cardinals are a bad team. I can tell
Put
you
that one down.
much. Yeah.
Put that one down.
And yeah, trust me. The notebook may be lying about a lot of things. It ain't lying about the Cardinals sucking next year. So,
They're having their own little fire sale right now as we speak.
yeah, like as we speak with this episode, like doing a fire sale when they were already a bad, injured team. I think they've gotten the sense throughout the preseason of what they truly have, and hey, It's the quest for that number one pick at this
Mhm.
point. I think there's only going to be one other team competing with them for that number one pick. I'll give that to you later. We'll move on. Tony, back to you. Third in the NFC West.
The Rams. The Rams. Why did you come back, McVay? What are you doing, Stafford? Just give up. Just retire. The
Hmm.
credit card bill came due last year. You paid it. Just give up.
All right. Nick?
I'm gonna go Seahawks. I think Geno Smith has a down year compared to the one he had last year, and they lose some close games.
That means I am a tiebreaker on this one. Initially, I had the Rams in this spot, but seeing what I've seen from them with preseason and that they have some pretty good players, Hall of Fame type players coming back this year, then also realizing just what Matt Stafford had to go through last year to potentially play. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks is getting third in the NFC West. And I'll talk about the Rams further when I get back to them later. But yeah, I see the Seahawks regressing and the Rams bouncing back. So next up, Tony, what do you got? Second, NFC West.
Seahawks. Seahawks. Yeah. Pete Carroll just loves to run the darn ball, stock up that defense. They'll be in the mix. They'll be in the playoff conversation. I got them second.
Nick?
I got the Rams for every reason you just said.
Yeah, all right. To jump off of that, I also have the Rams. Like I honestly see them being a 9 to 10 win team this season. Like yeah, I think if a lot of their key players can stay healthy and they got the right coach, they're gonna surprise a lot of people that were down on them that basically said like, oh yeah, they they fire sailed it after that Super Bowl, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. They still have a lot of core people with that team. So I'm going Rams. So that leaves you with Tony, your obvious choice for the winner of the NFC West, the 49ers. Tell us why.
Shanahan is a scheme lord. Scheme lord. He just runs plays that are hard to practice against. He gets successful plays going on. He makes it simple for his quarterback. The Niners are tough to beat. The great defense as well. They're winning that division again. It'd be tough for me to see them. Purdy's coming back. Darnold's back up. Who cares about the Lance situation? They're going to win that division.
Nick?
49ers. Just like Tony said, Shanahan, he's always been that coordinator and that coach that can put any back in his system. Last year, he figured out, let's put Christian McCaffrey in that system. You see what happened. They won 12 straight.
Yep, it's unanimous on this one. They have too good a personnel on defense and offense, and just what Shanahan's able to do with that personnel is kind of almost unheard of. So yeah, I think they trade Trey Lance, get some additional capital for that
They ain't gonna
team.
get. They're not gonna get what they gave up for him though.
Oh, no, but I don't think they care at this point. Um, and honestly, like I thought that the 49ers were gonna run with those three QBs that just, hey, we're gonna run these quarterbacks into the ground. We know we have three capable, competent quarterbacks, and like we're just gonna do what we do. And now it's looking like it's gonna be Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold instead, but I still think it's gonna be the same thing. Like Brock Purdy, you're not capable of doing this. We got a guy right behind you that you have just as much faith in, it seems like. So that's just Shanahan. He has a modern day John Gruden approach of just like, I don't
Mhm.
give a fuck who my quarterback is. Like it's about my system and if
Yeah.
that quarterback buys into that system. So yeah, unanimous. So that leaves us with the NFC East, familiar division for Tony. Start with you, Nick. Who do you think is going to get fourth in the NFC East?
I'm gonna go with the Washington Commanders. I think this whole division, last year and this time, we thought this entire division was gonna stink. But we saw throughout the season that this was actually one of the better divisions in football. But I still think that Washington's still trying to figure out that quarterback situation, and they'll probably be the fourth team in this division.
I agree. I also have the Commanders. Like Sam Howell seemed to have some sparks, I guess, to him this preseason, but that division's just too good that they're not going to be competitive. But hey, maybe with new ownership, they'll be finally trending upwards at the end of this season. So we'll see. So that leaves us Tony. I have a feeling you have a unanimous opinion here.
I'm picking the Giants to be last in this division.
Oh! Surprise attack. I'm sure there's no spite involved at all in this selection.
I think that Brian Dable probably deserved to be coach of the year last year. I would say that it's fair to say that most would agree that the Giants overachieved last year and won several games that they shouldn't have won. I think they're dancing on the razor's edge of being a mediocre team that was elevated by their record. I don't think that they are a good team. I think they're going to go ahead and fall short and they're going to lose a lot of close games. I don't think that it's logical and likely that Daniel Jones has another good season back to back, and we see that he's like a legitimate franchise quarterback and he's worth the money. I think that the Giants fall short. Saquon gets injured. Maybe the offense doesn't work too well for a couple games. I don't see it happening for them, despite how good their coaching is. I think the Giants are going to be last in the NFC East.
Tony, on a similar note, tell the folks where you're going to be for week 1.
MetLife. I will be there. I will see you guys week 1. I will see you. I will be at probably the only game you guys win all season. I'll be at that game. With that jinx bad luck that I got. But no, the Giants, played way too over their skis last year. Coming back down to reality.
All right. Nick, gonna go throw it back to you for third in the NFC East.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. For everything that Tony just said, I do think they're still gonna be really good. Well, not really. They'll probably be a 500 team, maybe 9-8, 8-9. They may squeak out a 10th win, but I don't think they're a playoff team.
I have the Giants as third in the division. Yeah, don't see them as a playoff team. I do agree with Tony there. I think they overachieved last year. But yeah, Cowboys are going to bounce back this year. Eagles are still the damn Eagles.
Mhm.
So that's just the facts of life. Sorry, Jack. Tony, what do you got?
Commanders in third. Great defense. Somehow Ron Rivera hasn't been fired. I don't know. I can't answer that one. Other than Sam Howell, they have a pretty complete team. And they might just throw this season away because they have new ownership. The enemy's there, though, now. I don't know. So I could see some shakeups happening. I could see them being a little bit better than we anticipate. Commanders third.
I think most likely, though, the Commanders, yeah, new ownership. They're going to move on from Ron Rivera after the season. He was kind of just probably their transition point guy for the new ownership this year. Since they didn't have anyone else in fucking leadership they could trust. So, but yeah, if he ends up getting fourth, like me and Nick predict, he'll be out of there. I don't think though Eric Bieniemy is necessarily going to be the heir apparent though. A lot of noise about him this
Yeah.
offseason, so that's. But then again, would not be surprised if
There's been players sticking up for him too. There's been Kansas City players sticking up for him, both that are on Kansas City and that have left Kansas City for other teams.
Yeah.
Sticking up for him, just saying that you have to buy in.
and
I think it's that sort of the not necessarily the Bill Belichick effect, but like that type of coach. But who knows? I don't know.
and a common thread we've had throughout these preseason episodes was the quarterback show on Netflix, and we saw a little bit of that with Eric Bieniemy of just like his in your face nature and just how he kind of ticked off Patrick Mahomes a few times. So, but I don't know if that's necessarily what, given the Commanders' history, I don't know if that's necessarily the guy you want running the show moving forward. And so that's why I don't see him as the heir apparent, but I could see it in a way of Ron Rivera gets fired somewhere throughout the season, Bieniemy takes over, Bieniemy does well, and carries over to the next season, kind of the Cleveland Browns effect, if you'll have it. So, all right, moving forward. Now we're gonna have some shakeups, I feel like, with these top two in the NFC East. And so we're gonna kick it back to you, Nick. Who do you have for second in the NFC East?
Oh, this one's hard for me. I do think the Eagles take a step back and they finish second in this division. I think they're still going to be a great team. I think Jalen Hurts is still going to have a great season and be in the running for MVP. But I think it's going to come down to division games. And I think the head-to-head matchups between them and the Cowboys is what's going to take it. So I think that the Eagles finish second in this division.
All right. I'm in agreement here. I have the Eagles. I think they've been so overhyped, and it bit me last year where I said the same thing. Fucking 18 weeks last season of just nope, Eagles are a phony team, all the way to the damn Super Bowl where I finally switched and rooted for them, and then they lost. And so Eagles, I think they've been so overhyped. I've seen polls this year where they've had Jalen Hurts is a top 3 QB in the league right now, where they've had the Eagles as a 1 or 2 team in the league right now. And I don't know how they can live up to those standards there. I don't see how Jalen Hurts can keep ascending like he has, but they proved me wrong. Like I said, 18 damn weeks last season, so here we are, boys. Could be a long 18 weeks with this pick again, but I'm sticking with it. And yeah, I'll talk about the Cowboys later when it's my turn again. Tony, second in the division, NFC East.
Yes. Let's complete this Eagles in second place agreement. Let's go ahead and just give you guys, say, grain of salt. I'll give you the whole damn counter of salt, because let's tell the truth about the Eagles and Jalen Hurts as it is right here. I was disappointed in this guy over here named Chris Billings, because he's my college football connoisseur. But when I went ahead and did my research, I discovered Jalen Hurts has a big quarterback problem whenever he plays against another good quarterback. Pulled up the research here. I got my little notes, not like Billings in the notebook, but I have a sticky pad. Looks like a Super Bowl. I heard both sides from this Super Bowl. Like the field was so wet, that's why the Eagles' pass rush wasn't good. Also, the field that Jalen Hurts played the best game of his life. Okay, make up your mind. I don't know what's going on with that one, Eagles. So he loses to Mahomes, loses to Tom Brady in the playoffs last year, lost to Joe Burrow when he was in college at LSU, lost to Trevor Lawrence when he was in college at LSU, lost to Deshaun Watson when he was in college at LSU, benched for Tua in a national championship game at LSU. Are we sure that this Jalen Hurts guy is really that guy? Is he a top 3 quarterback? Should he be in this MVP? Never beaten Dak Prescott. Like, why are we hyping this guy up so much? Like, this is where I'm just like, this is the truth of this situation where it's like the Eagles had a completely different coach and quarterback less than 5 years ago. All credit to Howie Roseman, the GM, and creating a situation in which a quarterback and a coach can thrive and make it to the Super Bowl. But I think it's very fair to question like that these are elite quarterback or elite coach. Like, look at the scheme that they were in. Look at their offensive line. Look at everything. Look at their cake schedule. There's a reason why you as a Broncos fan sat there for 18 weeks and were like, they're phony, they're phony, they're phony. We never saw them prove themselves. Brock Purdy got injured in like the first play of the NFC Championship game. Their defense allowed 14 points in the playoffs before they got to the Super Bowl. 14 points. They played 2 games and their defense allowed 14 points total. So, I mean, I think this is why we have these questions about Jalen Hurts and like the durability of mobile quarterbacks. We have these questions for a reason, man. And it's, I don't know. The Eagles should still be good. Got them in second in the division.
For me personally, I have Carson Wentz PTSD, where I've seen this before of like a guy that got hyped when it was really the guys in the trenches that were doing all the work. And that's how I feel this Eagles team is right now. It's the guys in the trenches doing all the work right now. So yeah, I'm still kind of in prove it mode. So Nick, you clearly have the Cowboys winning
Yes.
this division. Tell us why.
I got the Cowboys winning this division because we've gone through the entire NFC now, and there's not many teams that on their schedule that they should fear. And they're gonna most likely win the games against the Eagles. So I see no reason why they shouldn't win this division. It'll be close with them. Them and the Eagles will both have double-digit wins, but I believe the head-to-head matchups win the division for the Cowboys.
I'm in the same boat. I have the Cowboys. I think they've had a lot of noise around them. But once again, the Cowboys for me are best when they have this noise around them, but you don't hear shit coming out of the Cowboys. You don't hear shit from their players or from their facility. They just put their head down and they work. And that's all I've heard from the Cowboys this preseason. It's just their head down, working, not responding to the noise or participating in it, and that's when they're their best. Whereas the Eagles have just nothing but noise surrounding to them to a great deal. They've participated in it. So Tony, tell us why you have the Cowboys winning your division.
No team's repeated as division winner in 20 years. So it just seems like it's more logical that the Cowboys go ahead and win this than the Eagles repeat. And like you guys are saying, the Cowboys really haven't been as hyped as they have been in years past. I think a lot of that is due to the Eagles, Jalen Hurts ascending campaign that goes on, as well as Aaron Rodgers moving to the Jets and him getting all this big media market attention has kind of pushed the Cowboys down a couple steps. And like you said, they made good moves in the offseason. They're finally like making good moves and they're just quiet. They're just like operating like a normal, boring team. Like I say this and then this player gets arrested like this past weekend. But yes,
Hey,
like
at
most
least
of the time. Yeah.
at least he wasn't going 98 this time.
Yeah, I heard Jerry. But yeah, I mean, it seems like they're a little bit more stable. Somehow Mike McCarthy is a good coach. I don't know why he is. It's just like this weird thing that goes on where people don't want to give him credit. They're like a good team, and it's frustrating because it's not like that's how it's portrayed. But I think they should win this division. They built a solid roster. They have the players. They definitely should go ahead and win it.
We're all in agreement here. All right, boys, that's the NFC. Gonna turn the page, go to the AFC. So we're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back with the AFC.
Thanks for watching the Sports Budz. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.